Alright, I did start the stream now, so we are going to start class. Let me get the stream out there for those people that are streaming, who's probably... streamers. Alright, so I'll select that for the streamers. Okay, so a couple of things before we start class. Today we are going to end up starting our group projects. So we were kind of going over the list of groups that we saw colloquially forming, and I reached out to some people in Slack yesterday to verify. And we had kind of some weird numbered groups, so we changed it up a bit. We're now doing groups of 5 for the most part. So I moved some people around. Doesn't have to be this way, okay? I just want to say it first. You can come to me with alternate solutions if you would like, but this is just initially our plan. So we're going to put Michael S. on your guys' team. We were going to put Jose on your guys' team. Tony, Mike, and Nora, right, is also on your team. Alex. Heather and Andy, we're going to go on Garrett's team with Kyle and Justin, who are conveniently gone. And Matt was going to go on your guys' team. So if anyone has any problem with that, you can Slack me privately and we can discuss it. But here's the rule. If you come to me and you say, I don't like this team setup, you need to give me a suitable alternative. I want teams of 4 or 5. If we're going to go less than that, there has to be serious justification for why, because we're breaking up another team. So if you can give me an alternative, or you can air your grievances to me too, and we can talk about it, because I don't want anyone to be unhappy with this arrangement. So if you are truly unhappy with what, I just made this authoritarian kind of command to everyone, right? I don't want that necessarily to be the case. I want everyone to enjoy their final projects, but I didn't want to break up any existing groups was the thing. So we had some groups that were kind of forming, but before they officially formed, I broke them up. So sorry. Anyway, like I said, if you do have a problem with it, let me know. We'll take care of it. I want everyone to kind of do their best on these projects, so I want you to be with the people you want to be with as much as I possibly can, just because that's going to make it easier for everyone. If you really gel with your team, it just makes the teamwork better. It makes everything better. So that should be the highest priority. So we can shift people around. That's fine. It's just we need to talk about it, right? Anyway, that aside, we are going to be reviewing a lot of the React stuff we have done. Is the first part of class. Then you're going to get some time to work on your homework if you would like. If you don't care about working on that, you can go and start working on your groups. But I'm not actually going to talk much about what we need to go over with like the first deliverable or anything until after that homework period. So it'll be about 30 minutes I'll give you to work on your homework if you'd like. Yeah, so with that being said, literally the first part of this class is open review. If you have any questions about anything related to React or the whole stack that we went over on Monday, now's your chance to ask. And we can cover literally any of that. We'll review it. We'll answer your questions. This is just for you. When questions stop coming in, we're done doing review, I suppose. So that's that. So is there anything in particular that anyone would like to see again? Or like another explanation of? What if we built a little Express app and served up a React app with it, and then hooked it up to Mongo? Would that be a good little exercise? We could just go through that together from scratch. We can go through it together, kind of see what that process is like. And yeah, so this will be off the cuff. I don't have anything in front of me, so I might make mistakes, so work with me, please. Let me open up a new terminal. The scraping app, the one where you go to the scrape endpoint or whatever. Yeah, that's not a bad one. We could use Cheerio or whatever.
Question. With the React, if I got a server express, do I have to make all the HTML with the React, or I can have like handlebars in the view and just React connected to
You don't want any handlebars if you're using Express. If you're using React,
Okay.
that is going to get messy.
Different template engine.
Yes. There's not a template engine. There's no template engine with React. You're just serving up this HTML file that has this JavaScript that does pure magic.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So
Now,
like I could make that another HTML that connect to Express, and you would just have the React and put that root in that
yes.
ID, that part of that.
Yes. You could have another HTML page that has handlebars, sure, but the one that's rendering React, I don't recommend it. I will tell you, if you ever go to a project...
React, I mean outside.
Right.
Different HTML.
So you could technically mix the two, but I don't recommend it. I was just going to say, if you do that in a real project, your teammates will probably punch you. Like, as all, that'd be a nightmare.
I'm not planning to do that.
I know.
It's possible.
It is very possible, yes.
Okay.
It is quite possible. And it wouldn't even be that hard to do. If we really wanted to do it, it'd actually be quite trivial. Because all you do is return your React favoring HTML from one endpoint and then your handlebars from the others. You can mix and match them all day long if you like. I wouldn't like it. But if you like it, then by all means.
I just like to know if it's possible.
It is possible.
I'm not
yes.
planning.
I know. I'm just giving you grief, Adam. All right. So let's start. I'm in my examples folder. We're going to call this React Scraper then, and that's going to be our goal. So again, follow along if you like. So I'll go nice and slow. You can let me know when you're, when you need me to hold up or whatever, and we can readdress the topic. Matt, just before you guys got here, we talked about how we had to kind of change up the groups. Now they have up to 5 people on them. So right now I have you with Jaime, Adam, and Jesse. If you're cool with that, great. If you're not, slack me, and we'll see what we can do. Okay, so anyway, we have React Scraper, and this one is just going to be a really basic Express app. So we're just going to do an npm init in here, or you could do yarn init if you wanted to use yarn. Either one is fine. So nothing too crazy. But I'm going to get all the dependencies for Express set up first, right? So we're going to have npm install Express. We're going to have body parser. Oh man, what others are we going to need? I'll remember them later. That's probably good enough for now. As soon as we get there and I go, this doesn't work, I'll remember. All right. Oh, Mongoose, that's a good one. Cheerio is a good one. Yeah, we'll need Axios too. Look at you guys. Look at that. I don't even need to do this. We'll just have you guys come up and do it, right? Whoa. Brutal. Playing yeah, that's the real game right there. Yarn ad, yeah. If you're using yarn, it'd be yarn ad. Alright, so I have Axios, Body Parser, Cheerio, Express, and Mongoose in here right now. And I'm going to create a server.js as well. So I have a package JSON, package lock, my node module, server.js. Everyone good? So the next thing I do before I open this in Visual Studio Code is my create React app, because that's going to be nested in here, right? So we're just going to call this client. We'll let it do its thing. So now we have also our client in here. We should be able to open this bad boy in Visual Studio Code. Whoa.
Is there anything else that you did after you fill in the React file?
Nope. I just opened it in code after the... I gave it a name of client, right? But after that, nope. I just kind of let it go, and this is where we are. Now, a couple of things that we should just do, we should get used to doing when we start a new project. We are going to create a gitignore. A gitignore file. Boom. In here, we're going to have node modules and build. And I think that's all we need right now. Okay. And we can verify that by doing a get status. Oh, well, get init first, and then a get status. And you can see we have the gitignore in there, and none of the node modules folders are showing up, which is good. So we do our get status, we see all the things that exist, we do a get add dot, you cloned another git repository, blah 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 blah. Okay, so let's go into our client. We're going to do rmrf.get in the client. I did that because it said for some reason that there were 2 git repos, and because create React app must initialize git for us, and I don't want that. I want 1 git repo.
We need to ignore the client folder.
You can have it there. You don't necessarily need it. You can move all the stuff up, but you can also have it here. So you can have both. And it's perfectly acceptable. It will work on the files only in this client folder. So you can definitely nest gitignores, however deep you'd like.
Awesome.
Yep.
Can you scroll on the terminal again, please? Just get add.
Yep, I just did get add and then the dot. And then it also says you should do get rm dash dash cached client. Guess we didn't need to do that. I think we're good. Oh, no, we're not. Crap. Alright. See how it just says client and it doesn't actually say, like, all the files in the client? That's how we know we're not okay. There we go. Now we're good. So I had to actually do a get reset on get reset client, which moved it back to just a folder after I did the RMRF on the Git repo. I know that there's a lot of weird details going on here, but that's just the nature of what we're doing. Is everyone with me? No, I'm not inside the client. I'm at the root. Is everyone with me at this point? Is anyone messed up on anything? Got lost somewhere? Let me know, because I'm going to just move forward. If you're good, then just do a git commit, initial commit. Because we're going to push this to GitHub, and hopefully we'll have time to deploy it or something too. Yeah, that's what that client folder is. Just make sure when you do that, you RMRF the Git folder inside of there. We don't want that one. Okay, so now we have ourselves a very, very basic app, but it doesn't quite do anything yet. So why don't we make ourselves a start script? Which isn't going to be super amazing yet. And cd client. You have to copy this one from one of those examples. You have to use the concurrent stuff. We'll do this later. Because I don't remember how to write how they wrote those commands. You use node-moni, do some concurrent thing. Anyway, why don't we start filling out our server.js file? So in here, this is your normal Express app. Require Express body parser. We're gonna bring in Express and body parser. So we need the body parser dot JSON and the URL encoded. We'll do the extended true. So we need those, remember, so we can filter JSON and form URL encoded requests through the Express app.
That was also packaged.
What?
That was also packaged and installed.
Body parser, yes. It needs to be installed on the server. We're gonna do our port stuff here. Process.n.port, and we're gonna launch this on 3001. Our routes will go there. Okay, super simple. Just Express server right now, nothing too crazy. We could actually test it. Node server.js should be working. Doesn't do much, but it's there. Let's go ahead and install NodeMon. Use the -D to install it as a dev dependency, because we're going to want to use NodeMon while we're developing this. Yep, Adam?
In the last activity, in the Monday, your middleware URL encoded with Express instead of protocol, so what's the difference?
Well, if Express hasn't built in, then great, that's one less package you need. But body parser is just another way to do it.
You can use Express.
Yeah, you could use either. So if Express has URL encoded. Yeah, does it have the same options?
I think so, yeah.
Oh, that says export.
Alright.
It also has JSON, so we might not need body parser. Either one. Okay, everyone with me up to here? Alright, so we're gonna do an app get with star, because star is our wild card, right? And this one's gonna be used to serve up our HTML. So we need FS in as well. Oh, actually we don't, because we can do apps or res.send file. We need path, not FS. Why do we need path and not FS? Anyone? Because FS helps us get the file, but path will help us create a nice path to the file we want to get, which is the index.html. So right here we can do path.join. We can put a dot. Woo, dot. This can be client. Build. And index.html. Or actually, this one can be dir name. Because if we fire it from this directory, we should be okay. I use path join because then it automatically appends the slashes in the OS format, right? So / if it's Unix based, / if it's Windows. And theoretically this should work. We can't quite test it yet because we don't have an index.html to work with. because we haven't built the client yet.
So you named your app client?
Yes, I name my create React app client. That's it. So let me open up one of the activities we did. Let's plans, one activities. So if we look at activity 12, actually never mind, activity 11, I can copy some of the stuff that's happening in their package JSON. So in this package JSON here, this is all this fun stuff. You can see they have if, env, and concurrently also installed. So we're going to install those. Concurrently is a dev dependency, so we're going to install it as such on ours. So npm I dash capital D concurrently. And then npm I if dash env. No dash D this time. So now we have all this fun stuff. We should be able to alter our package JSON to have those same scripts, which is what we want. Now, obviously we don't have seeds, but we could eventually add them. What? Yeah.
So with Yarn, how would you do that concurrently stuff? Just add concurrently? Or can you do that?
Yeah, you do yarn add, oops. It's yarn add dash dash dev. And then concurrently. And the dash capital D might also still work. So I slacked out these scripts, so if you want to just paste them in, you can. And let's see. The server JS here. Oh yeah, it did use the Express one. Well, you look at that. Today I learned. So we don't need body parser at all. But we could if we wanted, I guess. Anyway, we'll leave that minimized. We don't need that. So let's go back to our server. Let's get the let's run a build. We're going to run the build command here that we have, and hopefully it works. So npm run build or yarn build, whatever one you're using, and we'll see what happens. Once it builds, we should have a build folder with an index.html, and we should theoretically be able to run in production mode. So let's start. We're going to, if you're on a Unix-based system, okay, I'm going to start with Windows because they have it harder. If you are on a Windows system, you're going to want to type set in your terminal node env equals production, all lowercase, like so. This is going to set our environment variable node env to production for us, so when we run this next line, it's going to be tricked into thinking it's in production. Which is good, that's what we want. If you are on a Unix-based system, so Mac, you do it like this. You just put node env equals production before we call node server.js. Don't ask me why Windows can't support this. I have no idea. It's just Windows for you. Now if we run it, it should be listening. And we can go to localhost 3001 and see if it worked. Boom. Nice. Remember this problem? Oh, jeez. Anyone remember that problem? We're sending back all of our files as HTML because we didn't set up our static paths. So if process end node env equals production, then we can do express dot use express dot static, and this is going to be client slash build. So we need to serve up those static files so that we can actually properly load React. So, what do I have in my build folder? Oh, app use. My bad. I'll show you in just a sec. This. You should have something like this if your build was successful in your client build folder. There is a public one there too, but that is not the same as build. If you cd into your client and do yarn build, you should end up with this. Okay, so now let's go open up that browser, refresh. Hey, we should all be here. It doesn't look too great, but it's here. Now we have the Express side pretty much done, at least to serve the React. We can start building out the React now and come up with our game plan. How are we gonna, build a scrape endpoint or whatever? And I'll probably just leave that for you guys to do. I can get you started, and then now we can fill it in with our imagination, right? Okay. So one of the things I did not do is start my Mongo service. So make sure you have that up. Oops. Nice. And verify. Alright, so we have Mongo. So now we also want to set up our Mongoose connection. What's up, Nor?
How do you create a client folder again?
Create React app space client. We'll just create React app. Remember, if you do that though, there's going to be a Git folder in there. It's going to be a Git repo. You need to blow away the Git folder. It's going to be .git. So we can actually, before we even do anything with our app, we can try to initialize the Mongoose connection, just to make sure it'll blow up. Something bad happens. So we can do mongoose.connect. It's going to be MongoDB localhost 27017, and then the name of our database, which we'll call Scraper. Now if you run the server.js, it looks like it connected, so we're probably good. Yeah, we get the deprecation warning and all that jazz.
I see 2 commands ago on the terminal.
2 commands ago.
There we go.
The sudo service mongod start. You're probably not gonna have that. Yeah, especially. You can type mongod into your terminal. See what that does.
Yeah, Mongoose.
I just want to verify that our connection isn't weird. No, we did it just like them. Alright. Cool. So we should be pretty much good to go aside from our extra routes that we're going to have to build for a scraper, which are going to go, boom, right there. Right? So that's going to be the next step for this. But let's, we can either do that next or we can go jump to the React stuff and start thinking about that. What do you guys want to do? You want to do the React stuff? Yeah, let's look at that. We all know Express. Okay. So on the React side, what we're going to want is to build 2 pages, right? We're going to need one that we can tell it to scrape, and then we're going to need one where we can view the results, right? So we're going to have React router and all that fun stuff. So if we go back here, let's cd into our client. Oops, not with that. So here you can do yarn or npm, whatever one you like. I'll start using yarn on this one. Yarn add react router DOM, which I think is the only one we're going to need. I don't think we need React router as well, but I'm going to verify this package JSON. So we do need, yeah, we'll need Axios too. Yarn add Axios. Potentially. No, we will, because we need to call our API. Alright, so we have Axios and React Router DOM now in our client here. So this should be what our client package.json looks like. And then we can also give it a proxy. Which is going to be localhost 3001, right? Because we want to be able to run these both in dev mode at the same time with hot reloading and all that jazz. Yarn remove or npm uninstall. So let's make sure that our hot reloading stuff is working. So I'm going to go back up and I'm going to just do npm start. Now if you're on Windows, you need to set nodeenv to nothing or back to development because it's always going to be production. So in this case right here, I'll show you, you're going to do set nodeenv equals like that. That's the whole command. You can do that, or you can set this to development. That is if you ran the last command that set it to production. You don't want to just keep it as that. Right? So you're going to have to run that. npm start. Okay, why did this explode? Can't find module React Scraper index.js.
You got a server, but it should be called index, right? It should have also an index.js, right?
Yeah, it's right there.
No, that's in your storage.
Oh, the server it's looking for an index.js?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. That's stupid.
You go with the name which is index. Can't you say the name is server.js?
Yeah. There we go. Alright, so this bad boy should have popped up automatically. Sweet. Everyone with me so far? In the package.json of the root, there's this main that we needed to change to server.js. This proxy stuff?
Yeah. Why we have that?
We have to have that, so when we're in development, if we want to make like an Axios call, so you know when we make an Axios call from, normally you just do the path that you're calling on your API. So you could just be like /API/scrape or whatever. If we did not do this, when we're in development mode, we would have to tell it to go to HTTP localhost 3001 /API/scrape because we're hosting the development version on port 3000. So they're on different ports, they're different hosts. Proxy overrides that host for us in development mode. Make sense? Cool. We actually don't have a lot of time, so I'm going to get you started on the React stuff. Is it still helpful to see it from scratch, though? Yeah. Okay. So what we're going to need is we're actually going to jump up to the index.js here. I'm going to remove the service worker because I don't care. And we want to bring in the router. So import browser router as router and route from React Router DOM. Just formatting this a little bit. Alright, so we'll eventually put our app in there. We're going to take router. Just give them a nice div. So route, we're going to make this exact. The path is going to be / and the component is going to be app. If this worked, and we look at this, there shouldn't be any changes. Should be A-OK. We make sure the hot reloading worked. Good. And eventually we'll go and we'll add another page that's just going to be our scrape page or whatever. Which we can actually do that first. So we're going to make scrape .js. Now the organization of this obviously isn't perfect, but I'm trying to fit in as much as I can. So I'm going to go fast. So we're importing React from React, of course, because we always need that. And we are going to create a function. We're actually doing an arrow function this time. Scrape. This is going to be our props right here. Props. Which I don't think we're going to need any of. Export default scrape. Alright. And this is actually probably just going to return, it just needs to be parentheses, not the curly braces, because it's just going to return JSX. So we'll make this a div, and in this div we're going to have a button, and that button is going to say scrape. Class name, we'll make scrape, scrape button. And oh, no, it's gonna need to be, no, this will be fine. Was it props match? Oh, we don't even need that. Never mind. We don't even need any props. So this will be in our CSS. We're gonna add some CSS so we can style this. Scrape.css /, which we can go ahead and add in. Scrape.css. Now the scrape button is going to have on click handler, which we're actually just going to hard code in as an expression. We're not going to pass a function down to it or anything from anywhere else. So this is going to require Axios. Axios.post. So we're going to just do a console error. If it fails, it hopefully won't fail. Ooh, we are going to need this. We needed to figure out how to inject the router in here, because after we scrape, what we're going to do is we're going to redirect back to the main page. Or, no, we don't need to do that. That'll be fine. We can make them go back. I'm going to change this a little bit. Bear with me. Class scrape extends react.component. So we're going to make this a full class now. We're going to do the render. We're going to do a return, and the return is going to be that dropped in, dump the scrape. Is everyone with me so far? We turn this into a class component now instead. The reason why I'm going to do this is because I'm actually going to change the state. I'm going to have it say scrape, then when you click the button, it's going to say you are done scraping. Go back. So it's going to have some internal state we're going to have to manage. So we no longer want it to be a functional component. Which also means we can do things like start scrape. We can turn this into just a nice function. And make this a little nicer. Start scrape. We need to give this some state. Has scraped. It's going to be has scraped is going to be our default state there. And what we're going to do is, if the Axios post is successful, we're just going to say we've scraped already and we're good to go. So right here we have this button. We can actually take this button and we can do kind of like a conditional render on it. We're going to pull the button out of this div altogether. So I'm going to copy it. Scrape button. Which is going to be that. Const. Then we're going to have it already scraped, which is going to be another component. And right here we're going to do this state.hasScraped. Already scraped, or scrape button. Everyone with me so far? Any questions on this little component here? Or any of the weird things I just did? Well, now we can go back here. Oops. We can copy this route, create a new one. It's going to be /scrape, like so. And this is going to be our scrape component that we're going to pass in here now. Import scrape from scrape. Lots of scraping. It's weird word, scrape. It's one of those when you say them over and over again, you're like, what is going on? I feel like, I don't know, maybe you guys just think I'm rambling up here. That's okay. So if that worked, we should be able to do /scrape. Oh, it blew up. Check the render method of scrape. I did something bad. I must be returning, this must not be working very well for me. Well, we can inline it and see if that fixes it, if it's this right here, but it might be something else. There you go. Beautiful. It says scrape. So apparently what I was doing was bad. Don't do that. Why don't we give this a little bit of CSS? What is that what I call it? I call it scrape button. Sure did. We're gonna give it a margin 0 auto. We're gonna give it a width of 200 pixels, a height of 80 pixels. We're gonna change the background to red. We're gonna change the color to green. Beautiful color combo. We're gonna margin top to 200 pixels. Wait till we see this. Oh, hell yeah. Look at that. That is nice. Display. We're gonna do display flex. We shouldn't need flex. The container it's in is not. Wrapper. Width. 100%. Height. 500 pixels. So we're gonna call this class name wrapper. Let's see if that fixes that. Nope, I'm not good at CSS. That's good enough. Display inline. I'm not gonna display anything inline. That's gross. This one, yeah. This one? I don't want to do that. That worked fine. Avoid display inline. Always. It's horrible. Okay, so that's our beautiful scrape button. Look at that. It is very stylistically appealing. I know Adam is like, this is so beautiful. I'm glad I learned my UX from Carson. Alright, so now we have our scrape page, and the scrape page just fails spectacularly. If we go back here, you should see that it is failing spectacularly every time you click on it. Ooh, oh yeah, it's terrible. So why don't we go ahead and add a route? We're back here. So I'm just gonna go ahead and add an app.post right here, nothing too fancy. Go scrape. It's just gonna do that. Res send, you did it. The reason why is I want to verify that I'm communicating with this port properly, or this endpoint properly. I don't want to do anything fancy quite yet. And I'm not. It's not working. So either my node mod's not working or something. Oh, I know why. Different route. I did /API scrape. So now, hey, scrape completed. Okay, so we have our scrape page. So now, what you could do is add the scrape functionality and talk to Cheerio and dump everything into Mongo from this endpoint. Question, do we want to continue on this for a little bit longer, or do we want to go into working on our homework independently? We can do either. It's your time. Continue? If you want to work on your homework, feel free. You don't have to listen to me. You can either go out there if I'm disturbing you, but if you want to stay and listen, then we'll continue. Okay. So now we have some scraping. That's fantastic. We could add a button to make it nicer if we really wanted to, so that we could go back to the main page. But why don't we have this render a list that's going to be our scrape results, or something along those lines. So remember, this is going to start out really ugly, like that scrape page, and then we can slowly make it look pretty. But for now, it's going to be ugly. I'm going to keep this class name app. I'm going to get rid of the logo. I don't need the logo. No need for a logo here. This is beautiful enough without the logo. Alright, so in here we're going to need Axios, right? Axios. And the reason why is we're going to want to load up our scrape results after this component is mounted. We're going to call it scrape results. We're going to just make this an array. Nothing too crazy. And then, what is the component lifecycle method we need to use? Anyway. Component did is not correct. Component did mount. You were very close. Sorry. Okay. So this one, we're going to have Axios load the results. So we're just going to do a get on API slash... we'll do a get on scrape. Sounds good enough to me. Make sure we catch console.error e. So this one is going to this.set state, and it's going to set scrape results equal to res.data. Because res.data should just come in as an array. We can also do something like, no, that's good. That'll work. For right now, in here, what I want to do is just a p tag. You have this dot state dot scrape results dot length. It's just going to tell us how many results we have. Okay, that's the first way. Really easy. We're just going to pipe it all in, make sure we can even get our results, and then we can figure out what they look like and all that dumb stuff. Okay, so now we should be communicating here. Why don't we do a fake endpoint for the get so that we can at least test that it's working? Get API scrape. And this is going to res.json. And actually, we'll just send in an array test, which will hopefully work. Should work. You have 1 results. Boom. Okay, so we're communicating with our server now, right? The communication's there. Now what do we have to do? Okay, we have to set up a Mongoose table that can take our scrape results. We need to actually scrape them with Axios from wherever we decide to scrape. We need to store them in Mongo, and then in our get, we need to actually get them from Mongo and send them on out, right? So why don't we, in our scrape, what's a website we want to scrape? Let's do like Reddit or something. We could do /r/webdev. We've done that before. Has repeating elements, or Hacker News or something that works. So we're gonna go ahead and need Axios in here. Axios equals require Axios, and so we're gonna need Cheerio too. Alright, so we can go ahead and console.log scrape starting. This is just to help us while we're debugging. Scrape starting. Actually, I'll show you a neat little trick that we can use. So right here, we're going to create a function. We're going to call it debug, okay? And debug is going to take in a message. So just a string. And we're going to say if we're in production, we're just going to return. Otherwise, we're going to console.log our message. So now instead of console log, we can use debug, and we don't actually have to get rid of those console logs when we're out of debug mode. Right? Does everyone see why I did that? Nope. So if when I deploy this app, it's going to be in production mode, right? So this will be true. Should be true in whatever system I'm using. And what I want to do is add a bunch of console logs in my debug so I can see the console as I'm testing. However, if I add a bunch of console logs, sometimes I forget to take them out. Sometimes I have to go back and delete them. It's a pain. And sometimes you want to keep those there for development mode, right? So we can keep them there now. And as long as this is true, they'll never show up. So your production code is safe from you saying, this sucks, or whatever in your console, right?
Or spitting out the value of one of your arrays.
Yeah, or spitting out a value that you shouldn't be spitting out, or using curse words like I have done at my job. Yeah, we had a process, someone was reviewing my code and they noticed in their console it said fuck like 50 times. And it turns out I left a console log in there I shouldn't have left in there. So that was my flag to let me know that that code was hit. Anyway.
That's efficient, yeah.
Yeah, it worked.
Like, oh, it blew up right there.
Oh, he found out real quick. He's like, I don't think you should say that. I'm like, well, you're probably right. Anyway. So what do we need to do? We need to use Axios to get some results, right? So we're going to use axios.get reddit.com/webdev. I think that's right. Let me just check. reddit.com/webdev. Oh, there's a www. Who does that anymore? Jeez. Only Scrub subdomain with www anymore, guys. I'm just letting you know. Go to GitHub and tell me if that www shows up. It does not.
It's on YouTube, though.
So we have this debug that we can call with the error message if we want. We can call it a debug, or we could do something else. Now we can have an actual console log and say there was an error. Results. Right? So now you always get a nice message, but you could get the whole stack trace too in dev mode. Yeah, just a little thought. Something along those lines. Except it was in code that was supposed to happen, not bad code. It was just... results. So now look, we can add all kinds of debugs in there, and it's nice. Now, this isn't the best pattern. You probably will eventually need to remove this stuff out, and in better In actual compiled languages, you can compile it out, which is even better, but that's an aside. All right, so we have results. Does anyone remember how to use Cheerio? Because I sure don't. Nope. Whew. Cheerio.js it is. All right, let's see. So we need to load it. Ah, there we go. We just need to load it in, and we can go ahead and find stuff. So why don't we look for a specific repeating element that we want to find in here. Oh, well, look at that. Look at how fancy we are. You open up the console, and Reddit is like, ooh, you're a fancy developer. Oh, look. Anyone want a job? This is my job as the instructor to get you guys hooked up, and I just, you know, got the hookup.
Spend a lot of time on that.
Well, there you go. And you're a developer now, right? So that warrants, that's 2 points for you to get a job at Reddit. Okay, so let's see. We want to look at these repeating guys. They're going to be in here somewhere. Oh, my word. Let's see. Let's look for something that's not minified and horrible. Oof. Oof. This is rough. Scroller item. Well, we want to get this text out. So where's this text? There we go. Ah, what do you gotta go /old? Yeah, that makes sense. Old.reddit.com. Oh, nice. So much better. So, class title. There we go. We can look for a class title. And then we can find the p tag that's inside of it. Or they find the a tag that's inside of it, they'll have the text and then href. Looks like, where's that text? Oh yeah, we could get top matter. Alright. So, right here, we're going to do cheerio.load res.data, which I think is what's going to have it. And this is going to be const $. Let's see, let's pull up the Cheerio docs. Alright, so we can go ahead and grab it. I don't care about changing it, I want to get the items. Okay, I think we can do like an each or whatever. So, $. Type. I'm going to do p.title. Alright, so we have an index and an element. Up here, we're also going to do const results equals an array, so we can dump these into an array. And we might have to do some testing here, of course. So why don't we test out element dot. Oh, actually, how the hell do you use this Cheerio thing? Let's see, pull up the docs again. Where are the docs? Should I close the docs? Alright. There we go. Alright, we can get the text out. We can get the children out. So, let's const tag equals element children. So we can get the A tag out, and then we should be able to get the href. Actually, it's going to be attr. And let's just debug the href. Because we should have something, right? Does everyone agree? We should have something. I would think. Alright, let's open this up. We need to go to /scrape. We need to call scrape. And then in our terminal, we got results, but then nothing happened. Oh, well, that's sad. So why don't we console log then our results out. Res.data. Run scrape again. Whoa, holy God.
Looks like we're in the TDS side.
You didn't change it to old.reddit.
Oh, you're right, I didn't change it to Reddit. Old Reddit in here. Good catch. Alright, I'm going to change this back. I'm going to shut it down, clear this, start it again. Scrape, scrape. Look at that. Look at all those hrefs. Nice. Href city. Sweet. And let's see if we can get const text equals. We'll see if element.text does it. So let's console log the text now. Nice. Okay, so we have text in the href, so we can build these little objects and put them in our results. So results.push title is going to be text, and href will be like that. And we'll call it link in this little object. Alright, so we don't need this index here. That one's pointless. That's okay. So now what we're getting is all of the titles and links. So now we need to store them in Mongo with a Mongoose model. Okay, so click on that. I'm going to do models folder. In that, I'm going to do we're going to call it article. It's not, I know. So in here, mongoose equals require mongoose. Alright, const article schema equals mongoose dot schema. Alright, so in here we're going to have title. Type string. Required. We'll make this one required. And then we're going to have link. Default null. We'll just default it to null, so it's always there. Article equals article schema dot what do we do here? Does anyone remember? Do we do new article schema? Is there a function we call? Mongoose docs, here we go. Mongoose. Mongoose.model. There you go. Article, and then the schema. Right?
Yep.
All right, we have our Mongoose schema. Everyone still with me? Any questions on anything we've done so far, or is it okay? Obviously, this is very dirty. I'm not planning out organization or anything. And normally I would probably slow down and I would organize stuff as I went, but I want to go fast so you guys can see this stuff. Article equals require. So this is going to be model / article. So let's require our article in. And we can actually avoid this results altogether. Well, no, let's create them all. Article dot create. I wonder, is there bulk create? Ooh, bulk write. What does that do? Send multiple, insert one. Ooh. Should we try it?
Yeah.
It's on article, so as long as it has the right properties, it should just do whatever it needs to do.
What we decide to do, update one or insert menu. Update menu.
Bulk write, callback. Yeah, must take care of it for me. And then here we'll do res. JSON. We'll just send back a message. Complete. As long as we get to 200 status code back, then that's good. In this one, we're going to send back a bad status code so we know what's going on. So this is going to be, whoops, res.status. Isn't this, is it red status code? Jeez, I can't remember this stuff. Go into the docs. Right here, API reference. And then we find response. Yep, status. So we'll just do a status. We'll do 500 and we'll send e.message. Actually, we'll JSON this. Okay, so now it's going to send good or bad back. You can also put that here. Ooh, I need to change this. Much better. All right. So why is this better? Because now we have a chained promise instead of a nested promise. We can make this even better with async await, a little bit too if we wanted to, but keep it to promises for now. So if things go well, which let's hope they do. Ah, we got something wrong with that bulk write. Let's see if we can find out what it was. Bulk write. Ah, there we go. Interesting. So, let me look at that again. Oh, very nice. Ooh, actually, do we need to call it a model name? Set name. Alright. I think I know what we gotta do. Now, this is how I read the docs. I look at an example really quick, and I try stuff, and it fails, usually. So, what we're gonna do is results.map, right? And we're gonna return an object, insert one, document, and this is going to be the results spread. See if this works. Alright, so now we want to verify that we actually have real results. So let me go to Mongo. I'll just do show DBs. We have Scraper. Scraper, and then show collections, articles, and scraped data. What did I put in scraped data? This one is going to be, let's do db.articles.find.pretty. Look at that, we've got a whole bunch of stuff in there. Cool. So now in this one, we are simply going to do article.find. Res.status 500.json. $27 results. Great. Now we're getting our information back from Mongo to our page on React. And let's go ahead and finish this up really quick. So we know that our data coming back is going to have a title and a link, right? For every single item. So now we can just do a this.state.scraperesults.map. And this is going to map to a list item for now. That's going to do the title. Now let's do two p tags. Title, r.title, and this one is going to be link. Why do we do this as an a tag? That was crazy. Alright, now we just need to wrap this in an unordered list. Let's give this a key. Oh my word. I do not know why that's happening. So theoretically this should render some stuff. Hey, it did. Look at that. We have results from Reddit that we can now scrape and display them in React. Now it's not fancy, it's not pretty, but man does it work. That's how fast you guys can get done your prototype, right? Maybe, maybe not.
In like 6 years, maybe.
Anyway, that was a walkthrough of the basics of how we can set this stuff up, right? I know that was very, very fast. You'll have this video that you can go back and reference if you'd like. And I know there wasn't a lot of explanation for everything. Any questions on this before we move on? And yeah, I'll zip it and Slack it out for everyone for sure. And I can upload it to the GitLab repo too. Any questions? All right. Let me go over the slides for the groups, so then you guys can start talking about your groups.
Did it save that fancy font in the database?
Yeah, it must have, yeah. Must have saved the encoding. Because it's HTML I pulled out, so. Okay, so let's talk about the projects. Whoops, that's not what I meant to do. Let me see if I can find it. Yeah, it's only 7:45.
I was like, no.
All right.
Felt like you did coding with the whole class already.
Let me find these slides. Lesson plans, part-time, week 20. Project resource. All right. It's going to be the same one that we saw the other day. Okay, so let's go over the requirements again of what we have to do in this project. We'll go over a bit of the week 1 deliverables as well. Okay, so now everyone should have their team, and what you're going to do for the rest of class is start kind of planning your app. So you're going to build, conceptualize the initial product that you're going to build, kind of come up with your tech stack, what you're going to do, build some of your screens and stuff, kind of like do your mock-ups, kind of get an idea of what you're going to want it to look like, build out some of the jobs you're going to have, come up with the roles on the team, all of that stuff. This should be your admin day, okay? There shouldn't be really any coding happening today towards your final projects. I know we all are very eager to do that, but that's not what it should be about. Also, you can spend time on your homeworks if you'd like. Anyway, so we must use React in some way. We must use Node and Express. Definitely you're going to need those. React, you could use minimal React. You could use something else, or you could potentially use Angular or whatever. That'd be fine too. But Node and Express you're going to need. MySQL or Mongo or Firebase, but you still have to have the Node or Express web server even if you do Firebase. Okay? That has to be there. So I recommend probably Mongo or MySQL. You must have both get and post routes and put and delete routes. I'm adding that in. You have a fully fleshed out app, right? If for some reason you don't actually need a delete route or a put route or whatever, and you can justify that, then great. But if you have an app where you can delete stuff, you better have a delete route, right? Deploy it to Heroku. It's got to have some data that we can persist in Mongo. You have to have 2 new libraries or packages or technologies or something along those lines that we've not discussed or seen before and that you've not used. If you were in a group that did map data stuff, you're not doing map data stuff again. That doesn't count as a new tech. It can be a tech that you use, but it's not a new tech. You have to have authentication in some way. So if you use Firebase for authentication, that's fine. Make sure it's secure, right? Nothing in plain text. We're not sending just crappy data around, and it should be easy to hack. I don't expect you guys to be polished, you know, security experts and make this thing impenetrable, but it should have basic best practice, right? A polished front end and UI. Have validations on all your forms. Have good messaging. Don't do console error or something bad happens. Show the user something bad happened and give them a nice message on how they can rectify it if they can. Nice styling, right? None of that horrible red button with green text. Like, your styles shouldn't conflict like mine always do. Stuff along those lines. Just make it look like you put the time in that you did. You know, you guys put a lot of time in. The unfortunate reality of being a developer is the users only see your UI. They don't care how beautiful your code is on the server. They don't care how hard you worked on the server. They just care that they have an app that works. So make sure the part that they see works really well. You got to have a nice organization in all of your code, better than I just did. That was a horrible nightmare mess, but it was a good prototype. I prototyped all of that functionality out, and now I can go back and clean it up. And there's not a lot of code there, so it'll be easy to do that. And then good coding standards, right? Make sure you have good indentation and you know, commenting where you need it. Make sure you have good formatting, no weird spacing, stuff like that. Bonus points if you get testing in there, even better. Testing's amazing, and remember, this project is for you. It's not for us anymore. We're done here. I have taught you everything I'm going to necessarily teach you in this class. Of course, I'll help you on your projects, and there will be things we'll teach you in conversation or whatever, but all of the things you need to learn from me, you have been taught. Okay? So this project is for you. So do it the way you want to do it, and make sure you do it well. This is going to be the thing that could make or break you for your job, potentially. They may want to see this code. You may learn a bunch about unit testing that you can then talk about in an interview, and that's important. So maybe they don't see the code, they don't care, but they say, have you ever done unit testing? Oh, I can tell you, I did all these unit tests for this project. I wrote 50 of them. I found out that X, Y, Z. I found out that, you know, this dude's a knucklehead because XYZ, we shouldn't write code like this anymore, and unit tests prove that. And all of a sudden you have this real experience that's very applicable to what they want, right? And so those things are important, and that's why this project's important. More than what you turn out at the end, the experience might be what takes you to the next level, not necessarily the product. We want an awesome product to come out of this. We do. It doesn't need to be the most feature-rich thing. If you give us an app that has one screen, but that one screen does its thing super well, and it's innovative, and it's cool, and it has utility, that's fine, as long as that one screen is perfect, right? And that one screen could be very complex, so don't think the number of screens means anything necessarily. But when you bring us functionality, make sure you bring us good functionality. Don't get overambitious. You can have, you know, your site set up here, but make sure every step of the way you're doing small incremental chunks to help you get there cleanly and efficiently. You may have to cut features. It's probably going to happen to everybody, but if the features you have in are solid, it doesn't matter. I'll tell you, it does not matter. Think about your MVP. What's the bare minimum you need to make this app resemble what you want? Get that done, and then add the cool features. And you might be able to get that done really fast, and then the rest of your time can be on cool features and expanding your knowledge and, you know, expanding your horizons in tech. So when you come up with your ideas, we want to know those today or very, very soon. It'd be really nice to know them today, or at least an outline of what you're going to do. But it's not due necessarily today. I don't know the exact date of the deliverables. I need to find out, but it's after the break for sure. So I think at the earliest it's going to be the 5th of January. But it's probably the week after that, if not 2 weeks after that. So we have a long time before these are actually due. Remember, we still do have some course content to cover, just kind of some fluff stuff to go over to kind of help you guys get a little bit further along in your education. That's not super critical to this project, but will help you potentially. So come up with your ideas. Start getting that admin stuff done today. You know, nail that stuff down. Again, your first deliverable is going to be your plan, design, and your research. So we want to see mock-ups. We want to see, you know, a nice explanation of why you're doing your app. What is everyone doing? What's your plan? I care a lot about your plan. How are you going to get this to us in an effective way? Okay? I don't care about your mock-ups being super nice and detailed like they do. You know, Chris and Stephanie might, but I don't. What I would like to see, and what I think is going to be the most impressive thing, is if you come up with a solid plan of these are the features we're going to execute. This is why. This is when. This is how. And then when we get those, these are the features that come next, right? And these are the features that come next. And like a nice solid plan, I think is fantastic. It doesn't need to be super fleshed out. The more detail you have in there, the more you might get in the weeds about stuff that you don't know yet. Remember, you don't know the problems you're going to run into, so there's no point in trying to solve them now. So example UI UX flow would be fantastic. If we can see that kind of thought out, would be great. I don't think you should go into too much detail here. Kind of come up with your flow. Come up with a general look and feel of your app, but adding all the little details of what each screen's going to look like aren't necessary yet. Just get an idea of where you're going to go, right? Here's an example of how you could do your data flow. Again, this is really up to you. Be creative about it. Just come up with something that tells the story of what we need to know. Imagine I was your boss. You had to pitch this. You need to get this through, right? You need to get the funding from the department or whatever. So give us exactly what we need and nothing more, nothing less. That's what we want. Any questions on this? I can select out the slides, yeah, totally. And so what we're going to do, you can either work on your homework for 15 minutes or so. Well, actually first we'll take a break. And then what I want you all to do is get in your groups and start planning. What time you leave today is up to you. If you guys don't feel like you need to do any planning, then fine, that's on you. But I would like to see some decent fleshed out plans before you all leave. Okay? All right. I'll slack out all this stuff while you guys are breaking and all that, but the stream is done. There's no more of that today. I'm going to shut that down and we'll go from there.
Yeah.